Tonight, flu cases surging across Canada. The highest positivity rate in years.
More infectious and more virulent.
Which surprising demographic is bearing the brunt?
The flu is predictably unpredictable.
The stunning reason this mama bear's brood suddenly doubled in size.
Polar bears maybe are looking out for each other out there, which is pretty neat.
And a life-changing moment.
I wanted to give someone something really meaningful and special.
How a Christmas Day proposal was made possible by a stranger's generosity.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina. Reporting tonight, Heather Butts.
Good evening. The flu is hitting Canadians hard this holiday season. Influenza cases continue to soar as public health reports some of the highest numbers this country has seen in years. Outbreaks and hospitalizations are up, putting immense pressure on healthcare resources. CTV's Abigail Beeman starts us off.
2 hospitals in York Region north of Toronto are among the latest to declare flu outbreaks, including one on Christmas Eve, limiting visitors in affected areas. The hospitals tell CTV News they are seeing more than double the daily flu cases as the same period last December.
You talk to anyone working in healthcare, we're seeing lots of cases.
The latest national data puts flu positivity rates at 27.7%. That's up from 20.5% earlier this month and the highest in the last 4 years of flu seasons.
So it has peaked much earlier. Also, the particular strain of the flu that is circulating right now, H3N2, does actually appear to be more infectious and more virulent.
Outbreaks and hospitalizations are also up, with the most affected group those aged 19 and younger. In Alberta, positivity rates are closer to 36%, and 4 Edmonton area hospitals now require masks in the ER. We're seeing more masking elsewhere across the country, too, this week.
We decided to implement this mandatory masking whenever we're within 2 meters of a patient and assume that basically everybody is positive.
And the rest of the regular flu advice from experts applies. It's not too late to get that vaccine and think about others before you attend gatherings.
Going to a place with other people and getting them sick is not a very good Christmas present. So if you are sick, stay home.
Probably going to peak sometime around now, between now and New Year's. Keyword is probably. The flu is predictably unpredictable.
While the flu won't be taking a holiday break, the Public Health Agency of Canada says we won't get another full flu snapshot from across the country until January 9th, more than 2 weeks away. Heather?
Abigail, thank you. A pedestrian has been killed in a Christmas morning crash involving a police vehicle east of Vancouver. Authorities say the woman was struck by a Surrey police car as it was leaving a gas station. The victim later died in hospital. BC's police watchdog has taken over the investigation. A possible development in the hunt for a former Olympic snowboarder. Mexican authorities say they've raided multiple properties linked to alleged Canadian drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. CTV's Kamal Karmali joins us now. Kamal, how much closer does this bring authorities to an arrest?
Heather, this could be a big step forward in authorities closing in on and arresting former Olympic snowboarder turned fugitive Ryan Wedding. Mexican authorities seizing dozens of motorcycles, art, and ammunition. The raids carried out at 4 properties in and around Mexico City. Mexican police say the raids are related to a former Olympic athlete considered one of the 10 most wanted fugitives by U.S. authorities. Not naming Ryan Wedding directly, but the former Olympic snowboarder has been at the center of a decade-long manhunt.
It appears to me that they're closing in on him.
Wanted for allegedly running a criminal enterprise that moves tons of illicit drugs to the U.S. and Canada. Earlier this year, he was accused of orchestrating the murder of a witness who was set to testify against him. His Toronto lawyer granted bail earlier this week after being arrested for allegedly counseling Wedding to carry out the murder. FBI ramping up the reward for Wedding to $15 million.
I mean, some of these guys would turn their buddies in for a steak dinner, let alone millions of dollars. So I think we're starting to see that getting closer and closer.
But authorities say Wedding is under the protection of the powerful criminal organization, the Sinaloa Cartel.
Perhaps they might have got a heads up that the authorities were going to conduct these raids,
creating some doubt on how much of a dent this most recent raid made on Wedding's enterprise.
It hurts him and it takes away some of his fortune, but it does not hurt his business as far as we know.
But what it could accomplish is bringing police much closer to arresting Wedding by finding out who those motorcycles are registered to.
Whose name are they under? And then, of course, you go to those people to find out if they know where he is, where he's hiding.
With former FBI agents saying it's likely Wedding is still in Mexico, but with a dwindling number of resources, his options for hiding out could be running out. Heather.
Kamal Karmali in Toronto. U.S. President Donald Trump says he ordered numerous strikes on alleged terror targets in northwest Nigeria on Christmas Day. In a post, Trump wrote that powerful and deadly strikes were directed at Islamic State terrorists who he accused of targeting and killing Christians in the country. Nigeria's foreign ministry released a statement confirming the U.S. airstrikes, saying Nigerian authorities remain engaged with the U.S. in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. Pope Leo called for an end to conflicts around the world.
Merry Christmas!
In his first Christmas Day address, the Pope urged Ukraine and Russia to find the courage to hold direct talks.
As I meet people of different faiths, I find it enormously encouraging to hear how much we have in common. A shared longing for peace and a deep respect for all life.
The king called for compassion and reconciliation and kindness instead of conflict in his Christmas Day address. Environment Canada has issued weather warnings for parts of Canada for Boxing Day. In the U.S., treacherous conditions are already hitting hard. In California, harrowing rooftop rescues as raging waters flooded entire communities. Fast-moving mudslides forced evacuations, but many who couldn't flee were stuck in their homes. A powerful act of compassion in northern Manitoba, where a mother polar bear has adopted a cub. Here's CTV's Alex Karpa on this rare moment.
This polar bear family in the frozen landscape of northern Manitoba is garnering a lot of attention. Wildlife researchers have captured video of this polar bear traveling with two cubs, but the catch? One of the cubs has been adopted.
When we got confirmation that this was an adoption, I had a lot of mixed feelings, but mostly good.
The mother, who was being tracked with a GPS collar, was encountered by researchers from Environment and Climate Change Canada in the spring of 2025. As she came out of her maternity den in northern Manitoba, she only had one cub, which was tagged. When she was seen again by researchers in the fall, she had two cubs, one with a tag and one without.
It gives you a lot of hope when you realize that polar bears maybe are looking out for each other out there, which is pretty neat.
This behavior is extremely rare. It's just the 13th known case of adoption out of the nearly 4,600 bears studied for over 45 years along the western Hudson Bay region near Churchill.
To encounter it in the field is very unique.
This is the first time Evan Richardson has ever seen anything like this in the wild. He says there could be several reasons why the cub was adopted, but says researchers like himself are still trying to figure out the answer.
We don't know why it happens, but it happens in a number of different mammal species. Over 60 species of mammals are known to adopt offspring, and it really appears that these females are just maternally charged to take care of these young cubs.
Researchers will continue to monitor the family and will remove the GPS tracking device in 2027, allowing scientists to download the data and get a better understanding of the polar bear's movements over the course of the last few years. Alex Carver, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Coming up.
This is absolutely monumental. We needed this, Canada.
Some of the most unforgettable sports moments of 2025. Next. From historic wins to remarkable runs, sports fans across the country soaked in an unforgettable year. CTV's John Benavali-Rao breaks down some of the biggest hits.
Whether it was on the ice or the baseball diamond, this year's biggest games all seem to involve a Canadian team taking on an American rival in a year where geopolitics added to the drama. And nowhere was that more on display than at the Four Nations Cup in February. Can you see? Ahead of a Canada-US game, fans booed the Star-Spangled Banner. It all came amid Donald Trump's tariff threats and involving teams that are longtime rivals.
We're going to drop the gloves right away.
A fight broke out moments after the puck was dropped, and then another and another. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of the game, which Team USA would go on to win. The two teams facing off again in the final. And in overtime, Team Canada coming out on top. A win celebrated across the country.
They were always going to get it done. I had no doubt in my mind.
But just a few months later, another Canadian team would try for an even bigger feat to bring the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since 1993. The Oilers besting the Golden Knights to go to the Western Conference Finals. And then advancing to play the Florida Panthers for the Cup for the second year in a row. Fans around the nation getting behind them.
Out in front, score!
The Oilers winning Game 1, but Florida tied it up in double overtime in Game 2. Stressed out Oilers fans posting images of their high heart rates while watching. And in the end, the Oilers lost the series in Game 6. The Panthers, Stanley Cup champs once again.
Obviously, we're disappointed with the result. It's not what we wanted.
Another Canadian team that started to get attention around that time was the Blue Jays, who'd finished dead last in their division the year before, but started to rack up the wins, and by July were on top of the American League East.
And a drive to deep left field.
And on the last day of the regular season, winning their division. Something the Jays hadn't done in a decade. In the playoffs, they first faced the Yankees. The Jays winning in 4 and spawning this viral moment.
The Yankees lose.
Up next, the Mariners. A battle that saw thousands of Canadians cross the border to cheer on the Jays in Seattle, where leadoff batter George Springer was hit by a pitch in Game 5. As he hobbled off the field, some Mariners fans were heard cheering.
And a swing and a fly ball.
But then in Game 7, the Jays trailing 3-1, it was Springer who crushed a 3-run homer, the Springer Dinger, that led the Jays to the World Series for the first time since 1993. This, the reaction on the streets of Toronto.
This is absolutely monumental. We needed this, Canada. We needed this.
The Jays seen as the David to the Goliath LA Dodgers, who were seeking back-to-back championships with the help of superstar Shohei Ohtani, a series that had it all.
To the bottom of the 15th.
From a nearly 7-hour game that lasted a whopping 18 innings.
It's grounded to second.
To an epic finale, Game 7, considered one of the best baseball games of all time, that went 11 innings. And saw the Jays several times come within inches of winning it all. But in the end, the Dodgers came out on top. For Jays fans, a crushing defeat, but hoping the team will make a return to the World Series in 2026. John Benavalli-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Still ahead tonight, what this handoff between two strangers led to on Christmas Day. A proposal with a beautiful twist has captured our attention on this Christmas Day, made possible by a stranger who decided her old engagement ring shouldn't sit in a drawer. Here's CTV's Maria Saru.
A life-changing moment that started with a special handoff. This small package carrying a big surprise.
She's gonna love it. She's really gonna love it.
These are bittersweet tears from Martina Borland, gifting away a ring she no longer needs.
I wanted to give someone something really meaningful and special that they could share with the love of their life especially around Christmas.
And for Kaylin McAdam, it means he can finally do what he's been dreaming about.
My whole heart is melted. I truly can't wait to give it to her. She's going to jump up and down in joy.
Weeks ago, Borland posted the giveaway to Facebook, looking for a hardworking person. She got about a dozen responses, but McAdam's message was the most meaningful.
It was really easy to pick him.
Speaking about his partner, Amanda Rogers, he wrote, "She's the definition of my world. She changed me for the better and brought me out of such a dark spot in my life. She gave me more than anyone ever could."
I don't think I could ask for a better woman, nor would I want to.
He continues, "I've been trying and trying to save up, but life just won't let me."
It's just bills and everything else like that is simply more important. Taking care of the children and stuff like that, of course.
With the financial burden off his shoulders, McAdam got down on one knee Christmas morning. Rogers said yes. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Congratulations. Still ahead, meet the people who work hard to make this newscast the most watched in the country. We leave you tonight with a moment of reflection and a long tradition here at CTV National News. Just as we are so grateful for your support, we want to recognize the remarkable team behind the scenes who work so hard to make this newscast possible. Merry Christmas and good night.